The following podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Ding, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all you other superstars. My name is Hunter Meach, and welcome back to ATW, where we discuss all things wrestling. Oh man, another paid live event has come and gone in Crown Jewel, and just when I thought it was going to be extremely mid and a waste of all of our times, it actually kind of surprised me. Just a little bit. You'll hear more about that. We've got that review coming up for you. We've also got another botch of the week, as well as another weekly rewatch for you. And then stay tuned at the end for a little special top 10 for all you nerds out there. You can catch it all here on the Cut and Loose Network.
We cutting loose.
I need my caffeine to discuss this. I've got the caffeine, I've got the hangover shades on. Oh man, I've got a wrestling hangover right now, so I don't drink. These are fucking $5 sunglasses. I just thought it'd be one excuse to consume my 600th milligram of caffeine today. Oh man, Crown Jewel Perth. What an interesting pay-per-view. You guys heard the last episode. You heard me say I feel like this is going to be a waste of time. The creative is just not there. There's no point in any of these matches really occurring apart from maybe the Reigns and Bronson Reed one, and I just feel like there's no point in having this pay-per-view. And there kind of wasn't, but also there kind of was. It kind of worked out in the end for some storylines, but also didn't do anything for others. But kind of, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this paid live event. I also don't know why we can't just call them pay-per-views, because it sounds way cooler than paid live event. But I was pleasantly surprised because I enjoyed the majority of it, though I still had that like back of my mind, like, what's the point of watching this? Some of them do have some sort of payoff that should help them go somewhere. And then some of the matches didn't. But one of the matches didn't, but it gets an excuse, and we're going to go over that one. But before we get into the review of Crown Jewel, can we just say something? WWE, make up your mind. What is it? What is it? Because it used to be you had to pay to see all of these pay-per-views. And, you know, that obviously was expensive, but people did it, and people loved doing that, and you didn't have to worry about this, that, and the other. But then you switched to Peacock after the WWE Network, died off, and that was cool. You have a one-stop streaming service for all of your pay-per-views, and then you make a deal with ESPN, and now some of the pay-per-views are on ESPN, but not all the pay-per-views, not the big pay-per-views. It seems like it's just these overseas ones, so they're on ESPN, but they're on like ESPN Premium, or ESPN Plus. You can't get access to them if you bundle ESPN through Hulu and Disney Plus, like a My Disney account. You have to have the ESPN Plus subscription. WWE, I am already paying $900 a year to watch every NFL game. I don't need to be paying more than necessary to watch mediocre paid live events. Can we figure out what we're going to do here? Can we figure out what the course of action? I was fine with the Peacock deal. I'm sure there's some sort of legal ramification behind your ESPN deal where you have to do certain pay-per-views on their app, and that's fine. I just hope it's none of the big ones, because I'm not going to pay more than I need to. I actually already have it because I watch every NFL game, like I just said. But for the other people, the casual fans, who like to watch WrestleMania, like the Royal Rumble, like Survivor Series, they don't need to pay an extra $16 or whatever to watch these just weird one-off 5-match card pay-per-views that just keep it all on Peacock. It's so much easier that way. That would just be preferred, and you're not going to do it because no one from the WWE corporate is going to listen to my podcast. But I just think I don't know. I think it's messy. I think this is part of the reason I like the network better. No one ever needed the network for anything other than pay-per-views, but at least you got all the pay-per-views right there. you know. And with Peacock, it's kind of seen as a package deal because you're getting all of NBC's programs, and that was cool. But now I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with this. I don't care to plan their financials for them. So figure it out, WWE. But anyway, Crown Jewel Perth. This was a very interesting pay-per-view. I don't think, with the exception of one match, there was anything that was like a spectacular wrestling performance. Having said that, though, I do think overall the pay-per-view was pretty fun. I did enjoy watching a lot of it. I did enjoy watching some of it. So let's just get into it and get through this review real quick. First match of the card, we got Bronson Reed defeating Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. This match was fun. You got two big guys. You got one really big guy in Bronson Reed, and you got him fighting Roman Reigns, and they're doing their back and forth. It's a fun match. Eventually, obviously, Braun Breaker interferes and starts to try and help Bronson Reed. And as we know before this, Roman said he had to go in this match alone. The Usos obviously did not listen to that, and they came to defend our Tribal Chief Roman, as any good family members, as any honorary Us should. And so, brawling ensues. They're fighting Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and they're going back and forth. And all of a sudden, Jey Uso is ready to hit the spear, and in the way comes Roman Reigns, and boom, hits Roman Reigns with the spear. And then next thing you know, Bronson Reed does his thing. 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed wins over the Tribal Chief. And I guess he's now the Tribal Chief, but just by title alone. And interestingly enough, this is only the second time Roman Reigns has been pinned in a singles match in the entire 2020, like in this decade, in the entire 2020s. Which is wild. The only other time he's been pinned in a single match was against Cody in the WrestleMania 40 overbooking main event. We haven't seen anything happen. We haven't. This is wild. I mean, obviously it wasn't clean, but it's still wild to see. This is history, honestly. And the only other time he got pinned was in that in the 2020s was in that tag team match with the Usos. So, obviously, Roman wasn't very happy. Roman lashed out at his cousins. He straight up told them, he's like, I told you I need to do this on my own. You guys didn't listen. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't know what you're going to do for Thanksgiving, because we're not going to meet at Thanksgiving. I don't want to see you at Thanksgiving. I don't want to see you at Christmas. I don't want to see you at Easter. I don't want to see you at Rosh Hashanah, even though that just passed. I don't want to see you at Hanukkah. They're not even Jewish, but he's including the Jewish holidays too, because he does not want to see his cousins right now, because he's that pissed off that they ruined his opportunity. Good match though. Good match. Fun match, The next match was pretty good too. Like it was fine. It was a pretty good in-ring match. We had Stephanie Vaquer beating Tiffany Stratton to become the WWE Crown Jewel Women's Champion, and wear a comically large belt with a comically large centerpiece that's like this. But it was a fun match. It might have been Tiffany Stratton's best in-ring match, just because she's not the greatest in-ring. And that one Charlotte match was kind of a stinker at WrestleMania. But, this was probably her best match, I would say, in the ring. They approached it in a way that, it wasn't like anything spectacular. There wasn't a ton of there wasn't a ton of flippy stuff. It wasn't a Japanese match, that's for sure. They just approached it in a way where it was a good old-fashioned women's wrestling match. Do your finishing move as a finishing move, and get that over, and just a nice, good back and forth, and it worked. I didn't have a problem with it. I wasn't particularly blown away, but I do think the in-ring psychology looked good. It felt like I was watching a wrestling match. It felt like you didn't know who was going to win at times, even though we kind of all thought Stephanie would win because she needs to win. Like, she's red hot over right now. it was just good, nice to see like just a good old classic wrestling match. No gimmicks, no flippy stuff, no super false finishes after like doing the finisher move 8 times. None of that. We'll get into a match that had that later, but yeah, overall, I think it was a good match. Next up, we got John Cena and AJ Styles. And this match, we all talked about this match. This match had no build-up. This match was one everyone wanted, that seemingly had to come out of nowhere and complain because it seemed like they didn't have a plan to do this match. And where AJ Styles and Cena are both going to social media saying how they should be having this match. And I was like, I love this match is happening, but it serves no purpose because WWE failed to book it. WWE failed the John Cena heel turn. They're going to fail his retirement. They don't know what they're doing with John Cena right now. So I didn't have high hopes for this match. And so they come into this match. This is one of the most unique matches I've ever seen. I almost can't call it a match because John Cena enters, AJ Styles enters in full TNA attire, like the old school, the short trunks, the overshirt, the blue and white on each side, TNA attire, and they proceed to do only finishers. They proceed to only do finisher moves of opponents that they have had on each other. You have Cena doing the RKO. You have Cena doing the Skull Crushing Finale. You got Cena faking out that he's going to do a 619. He doesn't do it. He fakes that out. You got Cena doing a choke slam. And then you got AJ Styles doing a huge tribute to TNA and doing the finishers of all the guys he had there. You have him doing Samoa Joe's camel clutch, not the camel clutch, but his sleeper hold. You got him doing Christopher Daniels moves. You got him doing 450 splashes. You've got him doing, I can't remember all the people he paid tribute to off the top of my head, but you got him paying tribute to the entire TNA lineup that basically he rivaled with and doing all of their finishers. And it actually ends with Cena doing a tombstone pile driver to honor The Undertaker onto AJ Styles to get the victory. This was a match where they literally didn't do anything but finishers on each other. They did not wrestle. They did not compose a wrestling match. They did not worry about psychology. They did not worry about booking out a match. They just did freaking finisher moves on each other. And I fucking loved it. I mean, this was the highlight of the night, people. This match might go down as one of the most fun hype matches ever, because this match was exactly what we needed in the Cena retirement journey. We needed a match where you got one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time in AJ Styles. The guy can still work. The guy can still move, despite the fact he's retiring next year. The guy, he knows he can still compete. And you got Cena, who can't. Right? Like, let's just face it. Cena's at the point where he's not going to put on 5-star matches anymore. So what did the two do? The two concoct this idea to just only do finishers of people they have faced in their wrestling career on each other to just have the crowd hype. And the crowd loved it. I loved it. This match was freaking amazing. This is the highlight of the night. A+ to you guys, 5 stars, whatever, I don't care. Bravo. This match was amazing. It got me invested in this pay-per-view again. Next match. Fine match. Nothing really special happened. Rhea and Io Sky beat the Kabuki Warriors. I think they're great together. They have such great chemistry. Rhea and Io do. I mean, the Kabuki Warriors obviously do, but that was just it. Obviously, Rhea's over. It's Australia. She's white hot. She's gonna take the win, and the Australian crowd loved it. I think it really didn't do anything to like push anything. I think Asuka's probably like the next heel they're gonna pair up against Stephanie. I don't know that for sure. I'm recording this before SmackDown, so we don't really know, but that's what I think should happen. We'll see, but fun match. I don't really have more than that. Then we get into the main event. The main event. Okay, so Seth Rollins had to go into this match. He told the Vision, he was like, I can't do this with you guys. I have to do this alone. And, the Paul Heyman's like, freaking hammering down, like, if he can't win this, then maybe the Vision picked the wrong person. Hammering down the fact that he has to do this. Seth Rollins goes in. They have a pretty long match. And Seth Rollins does end up picking the victory to become the WWE Crown Jewel men's heavyweight champion. He does not win clean, but he still won by himself. And he did it without the Vision, and that's what he said he would promise to do, and he did do it. I like most of this match. I would like to say one thing. If we're going to continue to do the Crossroads 9 times in one match, and we're going to do it off the top of the turnbuckle, and we're going to kick out of it, maybe Cody needs a new finisher. Maybe Cody Cutter should be that's his signature, but maybe that should be his finisher. Because the Crossroads now just feels like a move. This actually upset me to the point where I was like it took me out of the match. Like, I was like, this is a good match. But now I'm mad because why are we kicking out of the Crossroads so many times? That was my biggest complaint with the Roman storyline. Obviously, it's Roman. It made sense. He hadn't been pinned in so long. But what's the point of hitting a Crossroads off the top of the turnbuckle if that's not going to put your opponent away? I don't know. I think that I'm focusing too much on the wrestling portion of it, but it is upsetting to me that finisher moves are just exactly that. Like, they're not finisher moves anymore. They're just moves you do 18 times to get the finish. Whereas finisher moves back in the day, you didn't even always see finisher moves. All right, you would have matches where they couldn't hit their finisher moves because the opponent kept finding ways to reverse out of them, so they just had to roll up pin them for the win. All right, that was the point of a finisher move. It guaranteed a finish, and now it's just, hey, let's hit it 9 times before the opponent gets pinned. I don't know. But Rollins wins, which takes us to the aftermath. On the next night on Raw, Rollins goes in, goes to address the crowd. I'm the Crown Jewel heavyweight champion. Blah blah blah. And the Vision comes out. The Vision's there to congratulate him, and Paul Heyman's with them. They do their stuff, and then Braun Breaker goes to hug him, and then Braun Breaker proceeds to obliterate him. To kind of a surprise, but I don't know, because the Vision storyline has not been going on very long. But then he starts beating him up, and then Paul Heyman just has this wide-eyed look on his face, and he turns to Bronson Reed and he says, "You either you get to choose your leader of the Vision, either me or him." And then Bronson Reed's like, "Okay," and then just starts beating the crap out of Seth Rollins with him, just to have Paul Heyman mortified. So I don't know where that's gonna go. The scoop is, and it probably is legit, Seth Rollins seems to have actually gotten really injured again, which is kind of the chance you take when you put the belt on Rollins, because Rollins always seems to be getting injured. It kind of leads one to believe, was the injury originally a work completely, or was it a bit of a shoot? Did he actually get a little injured to the point where he had to do a month off to give the knee time to heal? So he was actually injured, but he wasn't injured significantly to where he needed surgery. He just needed time for it to rest up, almost like an IR stint in the NFL. Is that what's going on? Some people believe that. It does seem he's actually injured now, which is unfortunate because that means the Vision storylines kind of won't have a huge payoff. I don't know where they're going to take that. It seems Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed will be the leader of it now. I would assume it's Braun Breaker because he kind of led the charge, but Bronson Reed has the more impressive win. I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of that. We'll see soon, but it does appear that Seth is legitimately injured, which is weird because it means they're going to have to get rid of the title again, or if he's not injured, they do a workaround, and then Seth does another big reveal that he's not injured, which if you did that again, it's not going to have the same payoff. I would hope WWE is smart enough not to do that, but we did just complain about their booking process and the creative in the last podcast episode, so maybe they're not. But that was Crown Jewel Perth. That was the aftermath. The Vision in its current state is no longer. We'll see where it takes us. But yeah, so that's it for that. We're going to take a short break. We come back. We've got a new botch of the week that's going to be interesting to look at. So come back for that. And now we got Gordon Butterfield of the Minor League Baseball Hall of Fame on the call to tell us what just happened. Gordon Butterfield, take it away for us.
Oh, what just happened?
What just happened is brought to you by True Laundry Detergent. It's a locally owned company, and these fellas live in the neighborhood. They're saving you money. There's 101 loads in one bag. They got laundry detergent and fabric softener. They've even got dry sheets for you. Got sensitive skin, they've got the free and clear. No fragrances, no dyes, no additives. Or if you don't like liquids, they've even got the detergent sheets. Just drop one in every load. There's 60 loads in that box. Just head on over to thetrueproducts.com for all your laundry needs. And don't forget to use your code CUTTANDLOOSE1 to get you 10% off your first order. That's True Laundry Detergent. It's Gordon approved.
Oh, what just happened?
Welcome back to Wee Paris for the final heat in the Indoor French Championships. And the man lining up behind the pole is none other than the favorite, Pasquale Larocque. They call him the Magic Man because once the pistol blows, poof, he's gone in a puff of smoke. A clean start. And there he goes, taking off on the heat. He'll start to pull away, and it looks like Larocque has done it again. Alakazam! And just like Quibi, he disappeared immediately without any warning. Everybody's baffled. Well, let's try and take a closer look without revealing any industry secrets. We see as he crosses the finish line, everybody looks up to the clock for their times, and he disappears right through a trapdoor. Oh, David Copperfield. He leaves everybody scratching their heads. Even the finish line judge is trying to find out where he disappeared to. But like any sorcerer worth his salt, he'll never tell. Put him on the milk carton. He vanished into thin air.
Oh, what just happened?
All right, welcome back to ATW, everybody. And look, man, listen. I know this is a wrestling podcast, but obviously, if you're a fan of wrestling, there's a good chance you're chronically online. That's how a lot of people discover wrestling nowadays anyways, through being online and discovering them through YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whatever. Which is helps segue us to this week's Botch of the Week. 'Cause this week's Botch of the Week, unfortunately for Tony Khan, and we go back to AEW. I'm sorry, AEW, if you're trying your best, then you just need to stop. I'm sorry. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Your product is terrible. You need to stop. The shit don't work no more, guys. But this particular Botch of the Week is interesting because it involves somebody that blew up. Well, they kind of blew up on the internet, and then they kind of blew up for a controversy a year ago, and now they're like re-blowing up. I'm just going to get into it. So stay with me here, because there's backstory. You got to follow me here, because there's a lot of backstory here coming before we show how it's the Botch of the Week. So, this week's Botch of the Week involves a guy by the name of Ned Fulmer. Now, a lot of you may know that name, but if you don't, here's some backstory for it. Ned Fulmer was part of this YouTube group that was originally 4 guys called the Try Guys. You may have heard of them, because they're pretty huge. But if you haven't heard of the Try Guys, there's a group of 4 guys who they're called the Try Guys because they try different stuff, basically. I don't watch their videos really, but they try out things and they try different stuff, and they like try these like weird like idea inventions and stuff, and like kind of like a little Mythbusters, but Not really. They're like, oh, what if we tried making like a 50-foot hot dog float or something? Not. That's just an example. I don't really watch their videos, so I don't know. But they also go to different parts of the world and try different things, and like trying out let's try sumo wrestling, or let's try spear fishing or something like that. I don't know. But there's 4 guys, and one of them was this guy named Ned Fulmer. Now, about a year ago, maybe actually it's probably a little more than that, but a year or 2 ago, Ned was like the family guy of the group. He was like the dad. He had the kids, and was in the loving marriage, and he'd make TikTok dances with his wife, and he would do all that fun stuff. So lo and behold, Noah came to no one's surprise when they found out old boy was stepping out on his old lady and was having an extramarital affair and was cheating on his wife. So Mr. Family Friendly wasn't so family friendly after all. That word got out. He kind of owned up to it, but not in a remorseful way. He kind of just basically said, yeah, we're done. I've been cheating on her. And it got to the point where he just got hella backlash online, deservingly so, to the point where the Try Guys actually excommunicated him from their group, from their channel. He's no longer a part of them. So now the Try Guys are the Try Guys, but they are TRI because 3 people instead of TRY. So a little fun play on words for you there. But this Ned Fulmer guy, he like disappears. Everyone just starts memeing on him for a while. He disappears. And then he starts a podcast. And he starts a podcast that doesn't really get any viewers because everyone's like, we know who you are, we don't like you. So what his idea, because the podcast is failing to get viewers, it says, oh, well, what if I had my ex-wife on the podcast? Genius idea right there. That's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do for this podcast. What if I just had my ex-girlfriend on this podcast? That couldn't go wrong. Let's do it. Okay, let's call her up right now. I'm blocked. She doesn't have me on her phone. But anyway, the point is, he gets his ex-wife on his podcast. And the whole time, it actually is, I did watch this podcast episode because I didn't know anything about these people. But the whole time, his wife is just shitting on him. His wife is just saying, like, how terrible of a person he is and how he ruined her life and how, like, she's not sorry for him. She's not sorry in the state that he's in. She's not sorry he lost his job. She's not sorry he's losing money. She's not sorry that he feels desperate and has to do this podcast where she just roasts him the entire time. It's like 2 hours of her just roasting this guy and him just eating it. And it's actually pretty fun to watch. So he has this podcast that his wife just goes on and completely eats him. And I've already forgotten how this is the botch of the week. No, I haven't. So, what did AEW decide to do? It's not even really, I mean, listen, the guy decided to do it, but AEW decided to do it. So, the guy decides he's going to start pursuing new ventures since social media and content creation isn't working for him as much. So, the guy decides he's going to try pro wrestling. As everyone does when they're in their 40s and have a midlife crisis. You know, don't write a book, just try professional wrestling. And this guy is probably 130 pounds soaking wet. He's not athletic. He's got a dad bod. He said he's going to try pro wrestling out. And then he did. And the funny thing is, like, AEW saw that he wanted to try professional wrestling, so they just invited the guy for a dark match. I don't know if this guy wrestled in high school. I don't think he did. He doesn't look like he did. So you're bringing in a guy with no professional wrestling experience, and you're just having him on a dark match because he's kind of relevant within the past 2 weeks? Like, this is a guy, these are the same people who brought Big Justice and AJ to bring the boom to AEW because they were popular memes. Like, they were just popular on TikTok, and they're not popular anymore. No one gives a shit about them. AEW just said, we'll capitalize on meme culture and we'll get people to come watch us. Which, by the way, no one came to watch AEW because you had Big Justice and AJ on there. We came for the Rizzler, obviously. That's the only part we cared about. So, but you're going to go from that, and then you're going to go to an even more obscure, like just not relevant part of social media by getting a guy who used to be a part of this huge YouTube group, who no longer is, who hasn't been relevant for several years, who's only culturally relevant now because his wife made fun of him for 2.5 hours on a podcast that's getting views, but none of his follow-up episodes are going to get views. So your idea was to get this guy to come in for a dark match? Come on, AEW. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, the dark match is like, it's nothing particular. He gets up there, he like dances around, and then he gets his ass kicked for the whole thing. So it's like, okay, cool. Just pay a jobber to do that, though. Like, pay some local guy who's trying to come up in his ranks and get some reps in. Pay some local guy to do that. Don't pay this guy who's got tons of money. Not tons of money, because he has an alimony payment, but don't pay this guy who's got money, who doesn't care about professional wrestling. He's just doing it because he can't do anything else, because you think you can capitalize off the cultural relevance of meme culture. You can't. That's the problem with memes. They don't stay relevant. Alright? You can't have a Ugandan Knuckles episode of AEW because no one gives a shit about Ugandan Knuckles anymore. This is AEW's problem. And this is why no one can watch this product, because it is terrible, because they don't know what they're doing. Oh my god. I need caffeine just to prevent myself from having an aneurysm. I don't think that's how caffeine works, but anyway, man, that's the botch of the week, guys. AEW getting Ned Fulmer, former content creator, now adulterer, to be on their show. Ridiculous. I don't care about it. I need to calm down. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go over the weekly rewatch. This one is a good one, though. This one is a good one. The Dark Man, I don't know, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to ATW. And this week, I rewatched one of my favorite matches. When I was a kid, this was my favorite gimmick match. No longer is my favorite gimmick match. I don't have favorite gimmick matches anymore. I actually really hate them. I hate that we have pay-per-views dedicated to gimmick matches. I think it's stupid. We don't need a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We don't need Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. We don't need a tables, ladders, and chairs pay-per-view. Though I think we stopped doing that one, thankfully. But we don't need an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. We don't need a Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Honestly, the Money in the Bank thing is ran its course anyway. It's no longer fun. Actually, most of these gimmick matches aren't fun because we now do them all the time. But this one was really good, and I'm talking about today an Elimination Chamber match. I'm actually talking about the very first Elimination Chamber match at Survivor Series 2002. Yes, the best Elimination Chamber match. It's not arguable. This is the best Elimination Chamber match. This is the best thing Eric Bischoff contributed to WWE once he joined their creative. Oh my god, this is amazing. First off, let me just say, if you're not going to watch this match because I tell you it's good, that's fine. What you need to do right now is you need to watch the promo, the promo build-up for this match. Watch the promo package for this match. Watch the promo package to Always by Saliva's the song they use. If you watch that promo package and you don't feel like you need to watch that match immediately, you don't love wrestling. You don't even like wrestling, if that's the case. And that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to do that. But there's no way you can be a wrestling fan, watch that promo package with that song and the way they cut it up, and not immediately want to watch that match. Anytime I hear that song, alright, which is not often, but anytime I hear that song, I go and watch that match, because that's how great that promo package was. Anyway, first Elimination Chamber match, all the way back in Survivor Series 2002. This is a big match, because this is like, you know, it's the first of this weird match. It's like a chain mail, like a chain link cage that's sort of wired, and it holds you down, and there's these pods that they come out of. I don't know why I'm explaining the Elimination. You all know what the Elimination Chamber is, but they didn't at the time, and they had no idea what they were going to do. And so many of the spots we have now, whether it's throwing people into the pods and breaking the plastic glass, or jumping off of the top of the pod or climbing. Those all came from this match. Those all came from RVD jumping off the top of the pod. Those all came from them throwing Triple H into the pod. Those all came from this match. And that's the problem with these gimmick matches. We do the same spots every year. We don't find new creative ways to do them. We do the same spots every year to the point where they're just not as impressive anymore. And that's fine. But that's the problem with these gimmick matches. But enough of that. This is a great match, great roster, okay? You got Triple H is the World Heavyweight Champion at this time, and he's feuding with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels returning from a 4-year retirement. 4-year retirement. They've already had their match. You know, they had a little match and a back and forth, but this is I think this is his second match since post-retirement. He's coming back. He wants a shot at the World Heavyweight title. But you got 4 other guys who want a shot at the World Heavyweight title, and they're all in their A game. They're all relevant, all right? So you got Booker T, who's at the height of his career. Kane, who's done the little revamp where he's still the Big Red Machine. He's still a monster. But his in-ring work is actually kind of improved. He's not so scary anymore. He can do promos on his own. You got Chris Jericho, who was just great at this time. I mean, just great on the mic, great in the ring. Just everything he touched was gold. And then you got Rob Van Dam. You got RVD. You know the match is going to be great when you got Rob Van Dam in it. And it was. It got off to a hot start. Triple H actually has the disadvantage in this match because he has to start first. He's the champ, and he's the heel champ that everyone hates, and he has to start first. And the order it goes, it's Triple H and RVD starting off. Eventually Kane joins the mix, then Chris Jericho, then Booker T, and that was perfect because everyone wants to see Shawn Michaels return. Everyone's screaming for Michaels to return, and once Michaels the last man to enter it, everyone loses their shit. Everyone is super excited. They're overlooking the fact that he's wearing those ugly brown pants. They don't care. He is the star of the show at this point. And they just go off. They're doing stuff. They're doing the spots. RVD's jumping off the top of the pods, and they're fighting each other. And I don't think Triple H has drawn blood by this point, but it actually, when we start eliminating people, it leads to a real life incident that Triple H just worked through, which is why I love Triple H, because the man, say what you want about him, he'll work through pain. When he tore his quad, worked through that. This match, RVD does a 5-star frog splash off the top of the pod onto Triple H, overshoots, missed where he's supposed to land. His knee crushes Triple H's larynx, crushes his windpipe to the point where you see him actually turn around, grab his throat, and he's rolls out of it because he knows it's crushed. And the dude probably had to have had the worst time trying to breathe for the rest of the match. But it worked for him because Booker T saw the opportunity to hit the scissors kick and pin him, making RVD the first person eliminated. Unfortunately for Booker, my guy, he was immediately eliminated by Jericho's Lion Salt after he got the win there. So unfortunate. But then there's some back and forth. They're fighting each other, and it seems like Kane's dominating all of them. It seems like Kane may have a good shot at winning, so they know, okay, they got to turn against Kane. They got to figure it out. So then in a great sequence, Michaels hits Kane with a super kick. And then into Triple H's pedigree, get him on the ground for a Jericho Lion Salt onto him. 1, 2, 3. Kane is out. You now got Jericho, Triple H, and Michaels left. And then, a little more wrestling ensues. Eventually, Jericho takes a super kick and pedigree, and he's out. And then it's just what everyone wanted. Michaels and Triple H, former best friend, mentor, mentee, best friends, turned enemies now, and they're wanting to see Shawn Michaels of old. They're getting Shawn Michaels of old. They're fighting each other. Shawn Michaels is hitting a moonsault, not off the pod, but off the turnbuckle. Triple H is doing his offense. It gets to the point where Michaels gets reversed from a super kick into a pedigree, to the point where everyone thinks Triple H is going to retain. You got to remember, this is when Triple H was on his golden shovel run, where he was just burying everyone and just burying all the talent. But Michaels kicks out. Michaels is bloody in the face. They're both bloody in the face. They're both getting into it. fighting again, goes to hit another pedigree on him. Michaels manages to reverse it for another sweet chin. 1, 2, 3. End of the match. Shawn Michaels is the world heavyweight champion for the first time in the 4 years since he had his first retirement, and it would be the last time, which is also why this is so special, because this is the last time Michaels will ever win a world title as a professional wrestler, and it's just such a feel-good moment because you see Michaels is back and he looks great. It's not like he lost any beat in his 4 years. He looks amazing in the ring. He's on top of the pod celebrating. Everyone's cheering, and it was just a feel-good moment for Michaels to be back and have the crowd behind him. And also it's Shawn Michaels. It's a legendary match. And unfortunately, the title reign didn't last very long, but it's nice to see where he was and him able to win one more. I don't know if they knew how long Shawn was actually going to be back. I don't know if they knew, Shawn stayed for basically 8 more years, but I don't know if they knew that was going to happen. Maybe they thought, okay, he's only going to stay for a year or and then retire at the following WrestleMania or something. No, he stayed for 8 more years and proceeded to have the best matches of his career. I mean, that second run was the best time of his career, if you ask me. Matches with Angle and Taker, Batista, Cena, just amazing. But it's enough rambling on that. This match, amazing spots. It helps that it was the first match, the first Elimination Chamber. It really does help. But this match, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. You'll see why the Elimination Chamber lasted so long, because so many of the spots that they are still using now, they're using back then. Also, it's back when the chamber is still round. Can we please return to the... I hate the freaking... I get it. You don't want it to look as old, but the 2000s aesthetic in wrestling just looks way better. I hate the freaking glow-up neon square square chamber and pods that get lit up with the bright blue light. I hate it. Go back to the old. Make it look raw. Make it look... You want it to look you're in a dungeon, bro. That's what it looked like, and this just doesn't. But that's that. When we come back from our short break, we're going to have this week's top 10, and then we're going to wrap it up for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back to ATW, where we discuss all things wrestling. And this episode, this episode's top 10, it's for all you nerds out there, alright? It's for all you nerds, myself included. Look, to be honest with you, I love video games. And a lot of professional wrestlers love video games. In fact, so many of them are professional wrestlers now because they discovered video games. Because they discovered wrestling video games and they loved playing them, and they were creating themselves, and they were like, oh, I want to do that one day. I was in that boat too, but I'm 5'6" and have asthma, so that, unfortunately, professional wrestling was not in my wheelhouse. But I will say, I did grow up playing a plethora of wrestling video games, and I'm still a huge gamer to this day. I still play wrestling video games, so unfortunately, a lot of them are trash. Especially in recent years. But we have a lot that are very good. The unfortunate news is a lot of the very good ones are on systems that are no longer available. So you either have to have an old console that can play these games, or you have to work some sort of emulation on a PC. Regardless of that, I felt the need. I'm in a gaming mood recently. I doing the stand-up comedy and doing the podcast and working full-time. It gets tough, and you find different ways to relax. And recently, it's been football, but being a Michigan/Detroit Lions fan is not relaxing. So I've been picking up some gaming. So I was like, what if I went over my top 10 favorite wrestling video games? I think that'd be fun. So that's what we're gonna do here, And I think honestly, wrestling video games kind of got me into gaming. Elsewhere, because I played video games before. I liked video games. I played Lego Star Wars and other games, but I would just do the story modes and the quick modes. But through wrestling video games is when I discovered how much you could actually get out of video games because you're like, okay, yeah, I can just do a match. And I can do another match, and not like, all right, I like John Cena, I'm gonna do matches with John Cena. But then I see all these other wrestlers. It's like, well, I can do matches with these other wrestlers. And then I see, oh, well, there's a story mode where I can pick a certain wrestler. And then it's like, oh, but the story mode alters if I do another wrestler. And then you do that, and you're like, wait, I can create my own wrestlers. I can create finishing moves. I can create. It was through that I learned just how much of like a game there is, and just how much content you can get out of it. And so wrestling video games really helped me like get addicted to video games. I'm not sure if my parents appreciate that, but I certainly appreciate it. So we'll get into it here. 10th spot, coming in 10th spot. We're gonna give some love to our Japanese friends. Okay, we got Jesus Christ, all right? We got Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. Now, I could have done a multiple Fire Pro Wrestling here. I feel like Fire Pro Wrestling Returns is the most encompassing one, the one that the Fire Pro Wrestling fandom likes the most, and it's the one I've played the most. I haven't played a lot of the newer ones. Like, I know one released on like this last generation console. I didn't play much of it, but I did play a lot of Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, and the reason this one is so good is because this is the most customizable wrestling game you're ever going to get. Let me just say, it is, 2D. It's like, it's a little side scrolling, it's not true side scrolling, but it's a two-dimensional plane. So you do have only like a diagonal version of the ring that you will move your guys back and forth and up and down. So, but it's the most customizable wrestling game ever. You can customize. This is before like, the WWE community and like mods and all of that. This is like, you could, if you thought of it, you could think of it. You want to recreate the WrestleMania 3 stadium? Well, you can do it. You want to recreate like Macho Man Randy Savage's WrestleMania 3 attire? You could do it. You could create Macho Man Randy Savage in this. You can create every WWF wrestler you want. You could go back to like create the AWA days. You can create your territories. You could create the WWF, you can create the Mid-South. You could do all of that. You create whatever you wanted and generate the logos yourself, generate the stadiums, create your wrestlers, create their move sets. You could do it all on such a huge level that you really would just get lost in it. And just Fire Pro Wrestling Returns happened to be the one I got the most lost in, so that's why it's here. I think the community consensus likes that one the most. I'm not entirely sure, but this is the one I spent the most time in, so that's why it's where it is at my number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, this is our most recent one, at least to my knowledge. Coming in at number 9, I got WWE 2K24. I'll say this: the WWE 2K experiment has been interesting. To say the least. It's been interesting. I would say most of it has been failures. They took over in 2014. 2015 was a bust. 2016 was okay. 17 and 18 were kind of busts. I like 19 a lot. I spent a lot of time in 19. 20 was terrible. It was broken. 21. I can't remember when they took a break. There was a point where they like took a break. They're like, we're not making one for at least, we're taking at least a year off to get this right. But I think 2K24 was the most recent one that is worth getting, because it was the culmination of all the ideas from those failed 2Ks that finally worked, and it finally worked properly. It wasn't broken to play. It felt good to play, and it also just had so much into it. The My Time mode was very good. The Superstar modes were very good. Unfortunately, it didn't have GM mode in it. Still, thanks a lot, WWE. Thanks a lot, 2K. But regardless of that, most updated roster, and it has a very good roster on top of that of legends. Man, this one is really good. This one is really good. Of the simulation wrestling era and the 2K era, this one really good. I think if you're gonna buy a WWE game on a current gen console, definitely get this one. Don't get 2K25. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just I think this one is better. I think it's better bang for your buck. Also, the community is still lively here. There's so many mods you can download. There's so much modding you can do. I like 2K24 a lot. Coming in at number 8. This one, One that I didn't play at the time because I wasn't out in WWE at the time. I wasn't like into wrestling. I played it several years later when I was in my when I got a PS3 when I got a PS4. But there weren't a lot of games on PS4, so I went back to the PS3. And that's WWE 13. This is the last THQ produced one, which was the downfall of wrestling games for a lot of people. But this is the one, the CM Punk's on the cover. This one was very good. Very good story mode. Very great customization. The season mode in here, not the season mode. I forget what it's called. It's not GM mode, but the mode where you can basically create your own storylines and everything. Oh, the universe mode. The universe mode in this was very good. Very, very creative. You could do a lot with the prompts. Like you could create a lot of unique sequences and promos and stuff here. The roster is very good, and it's got a great soundtrack. It felt like a timepiece because it was that last THQ produced one, so it still felt arcadey. It wasn't like let's try and make it a realistic simulation like 2K does. It wasn't like, oh, let's make it like modern Madden where we're trying to be realistic. It's like, okay, like the graphics can look good and still be goofy to play, and that's fine and dandy. So that's where we were here. At number 7, we got probably the wrestling game I put the most time into, and that's SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. It's not the best one. It's not the best SmackDown vs. Raw by any means. It's just one of my favorite. Unfortunately, it didn't have GM mode, but it did have that universe mode. I don't think it was called universe mode in this one, but where you could create your own storylines and your weekly shows and everything. I spent a lot of time in that, dude. Like, so many people got hit by cars backstage in that one because I just felt like recreating the Teddy Long SVR 2006 storyline just with different wrestlers every week. The creation in this one, I think this might be the best SVR creation suite. The creative wrestler was very in-depth, very unique. You could deck them out in a lot of clothing. The entrance mode, the entrance mode was still pretty good. The creative finisher was wild in the SVR games. That was no shortage here. You could create a finisher that was like 12 stages that had you started from a lying position and then kick flip up onto the turnbuckle and turn around, do a 450 moonsault or whatever. You could do physically impossible moves to create for your wrestlers, and they were all awesome. And then we also have, this was in the road to WrestleManias was the big thing. This one probably, in my opinion, had some of the best ones. We had that one that was, it's like the dual brand one. You can be as John Cena or Triple H. You had a Shawn Michaels one, I believe. You had this was the first one that had a female one. You had Mickie James, which was really fun. Edge was on here, Orton was on here, so it was really fun to have 2 heel ones. You also had a creative wrestler on here, which was really good. I can't remember this one with CM Punk on here. No, it's not, because CM Punk was on SmackDown, and the other one had ECW. So, but I can't remember who the last one was. It's not important. Maybe Chris Jericho. It's not important. But the point is, everything was very fun in this one. The match modes were fun. Love this one. This one's number 6. Sorry, that was number 7. Number 6, we're going more old school now. We're going back to the early PS2 days, early OG Xbox days. Going back to WWF WrestleMania 2000. Man, so talk about a shift. We're going from still pretty arcadey with modern graphics to very arcadey and looking not graphically pleasing. But the arcadey wrestling games are the more fun ones. They just are. And that's WWF WrestleMania 2000 is a perfect example of that. An upgrade in terms of fluidity from its predecessor, WWF No Mercy. It's very fun to play. At the time, you have this fun roster of like people right around the time of the invasion angle, but so it's like filled out like a very fun roster, and just the modes at the time were very fun to do, very arcadey, but very addicting gameplay. And just the fun you had in this game. Like, this was the game where you were inviting people to your house, like, hey, we gotta play all night, and then we gotta like play different tag teams, and we gotta do different steel cage tag teams, because we gotta win as these two. This was the game that was like you could have endless fun in. Also with WWF No Mercy, but this was the sequel to that. I'll go ahead and talk about number 5 because number 5 is its predecessor, WWF No Mercy. I prefer No Mercy a little more. It's a little more buggy. It's a little more clunky. I kind of like that, though, about it. I kind of like it. I like the roster a little better, too, since it's a little earlier. It's got a couple wrestlers that are still there that I like. But, man, these two games were so fun to play. The gameplay was amazingly stupid. It was amazingly goofy. It was so clunky, but you could abuse it so much in WWF No Mercy. I like it better. It was just endless amounts of fun, and there was no limit to like how you could break it. So that's why I liked it so much. And then number 4 is kind of like that tail end of that stretch, because then we have a SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which was more advanced than those two, but still goofy and arcadey enough to be fun, to not be super realistic, to have very intuitive but very fun button control and very fun button input and very fun gameplay, and to the point where, again, you just find yourself getting lost for hours here. The little story mode they had was very fun. Just the co-op capabilities here, so much fun. I might as well round it out to the top 3 because this next one kind of loops in with it. But to be honest with you, a lot of people for the number 3, it's their number 1, and I can see it. But I'm a little younger on the gaming side, you know. I grew up in the PS2 era, so for me, it's not going to be quite there. But SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, or SmackDown 2 Here Comes the Pain, is a fucking amazing game. And this game just had probably the most polish of the clunky arcade style, and at the time, it had amazing graphics. And it had probably one of the best rosters on there. Like, you had, you know, your guys like Lesnar were still there. Austin might have still been there on Austin was obviously on the roster. You could pair them up against guys like Jimmy Superfly Snuka or Rowdy Roddy Piper or freaking like George the Animal Steel. It had a huge roster of people on there. And then their season mode allowed you to use I think it was the first one that allowed you to use your creator wrestler to be able to go in this very in-depth story. And this very fun storyline, and it was just fun. And it was the first game in a long line of games that had in-depth story modes on top of just the senseless amount of classic match types. And it was the innovator for the SmackDown vs. Raw series. It is deserving of the 1 spot. However, I just grew up a little later, so I have an affinity towards the SVR series, especially by number 2 and number 1 spot. So coming in at number 2, again, one that a lot of people might say should be number 1, and I completely think that's an agreeable take. I just prefer my number 1 a little more. It's SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. 2006, man. This is legendary. Talk about legendary games, man. Talk about legendary story modes. This is the one that did it all. This is the one that did it all. This is the Teddy Long holla at me playa, get hit by a car, who done it storyline. Like this is the who done it, you know, the who done it season mode, and there's obviously the other season mode for the Raw cast. But man, talk about advancement here. You know, SmackDown vs. Raw 2004 came out, and it was an improvement in graphics, but it was kind of a step back from Here Comes the Pain. You know, it had a season mode that wasn't voiced, or your character didn't have voice lines. Only specific ones did. It reduced some of the match types in there. This one added all that back. The Create a Superstar pretty in-depth, pretty good. The soundtrack on this one, let me say that, because WWE games, I can't believe I waited this long to mention. They've been known for their soundtracks, but the soundtrack on this one, my God, it was hype. I mean, it had some bangers on here, from Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth to Crush, Kill, Destroy by Poet. This one had some bangers on it. The soundtrack, man, this was a good soundtrack. Creative Wrestler was good. Season mode was extremely good. You could not use your Creative Wrestler in the season mode. That was unfortunate, but the match types. So many match types in this one. You had Buried Alive matches. You have obviously your staples like Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Royal Rumble. You had the casket match in here. You had, which I don't even know if, I honestly don't know if there's ever been a true fulfill your fantasy match, but you have a fulfill your fantasy match on here, which is basically a bra and panties match, but it's like in a pink ring with a bunch of just pink and violet furniture and decor for the girlies to be on, and it's definitely the match that guys my age, when we played it, came out, we made sure our parents were asleep before we started playing the match, and the door was shut and the volume was as low as it could be where we could still hear it. But man, this game is extremely fun gameplay, and it could be your number one. My number one, though, is its follow-up, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. This one edges it out for me, man. This is probably the one I played the most. On top of, apart from 2010, I think this is the one I played the most. I think this game is perfect. It's got a great story mode. A very goofy story mode, which I love. There's one point, very goofy story mode that you can use any wrestler you want on there, including your created one. There's parts of it where, Candice Michelle turns you into a female wrestler with a wand, and it's we're really bending reality here, but it's just so stupid. It's so fun, and there's so much about this game that's fun. The match types, I think they're even increased from 2006 to where you have, I think this is where the Inferno match was added, but you still got your Buried Alive matches. Just so much fun here going on. The Creative Wrestler, extremely in depth. I think this was the predecessor to that 2010 Creation Suite. It might even be this, it may have more. I can't remember. It's been so long. I need to go back and I need to emulate it on my PC so I can replay more of it. But man, the season mode was great. All the Creation Suite was great, from creating your finishers to creating your entrance to your wrestlers to your match types. Your pay-per-views, you could create pay-per-views there and create your little custom rings. The roster on this lineup was great. I mean, you had an incredible roster because you had an incredible active roster at the time. You had an incredible backlog roster at the time. You had guys like Bret Hart, you guys like Hulk Hogan, you had Andre the Giant, freaking Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Rowdy Piper, all those guys we mentioned in the earlier ones. You have even more than that. You got Ted DiBiase. You got so many people that were Dusty Rhodes. I can't even remember all the people you had on top of your head. But you had so many legends in this one that you could unlock. And this one also, because you could unlock the unique titles like the $1 Million Championship, you also had to create your title suite where you could create your own championships and everything. On top of all the match types, you also had the fun little area, which was one of the big selling points. Oh, this is the first one to add Money in the Bank. This was the first. This one had the most backstage brawls of all of them. This was the first one to add. This one added a dedicated area outside of the ring. It was very fixated on out of the ring combat. And it had an area you could throw the other people in the ring or in the crowd and actually fight in the crowd. And there was a section where you could throw them in there, and then it was just filled with stuff you could use to your advantage, whether it's like a crowd trash can or whether it was a freaking just random cane or an umbrella. So you could take people's soda. You could take people's like soda cups and just like splash them on other people. You had like scaffolding and rafters you could climb on top of and then jump off like prime Jeff Hardy. Stuff that would kill normal people. It was just so much fun. Not to mention, and I forgot, I'm sorry, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, because you also had it, but not to mention, you had GM mode. You had General Manager mode. You had the best mode in any wrestling mode that is yet to make a comeback, and it's so unfortunate, which is why SVR 2006 and 2007 are my top. It was also in 2008, but I don't like 2008 as much, but where you decide you are the manager of one of the shows, Raw or SmackDown, and you are in charge of booking it. You are a booker. You decide to book the match cards. You decide to book who versus who your champ's going to be. You draft the people you want. All right, you can have freaking, I don't know, you can have whatever you wanted. You could have Rey Mysterio go against The Undertaker every week in freaking Hell in a Cell if you wanted. You could have Chris Benoit wrestle like Andre the Giant or something in a submission match every week as your opening card if that's what you wanted to do. You just had to create things. You were rated after they launched, after they aired. You could actually enter them to fight them if you wanted to. But if you simulated them, you'd get your star ratings for the matches you booked, and it would tell you how much money you earned off it. And the goal was to beat the other GM, whether that's Shane McMahon or I don't know who the other one would have been at the time. But that was your goal. And it was so fun. It was like a franchise mode of like Madden, but better because the game was fun. But it was so fun. It was so fun. And it was so fun doing it with like a friend, because then you're like, okay, here's the actual like, here's some competitiveness, because it's like, I'm going to draft this person. Well, I'm going to draft this person. Then I'm going to draft this person. And you're like, no, I wanted Batista. You got Batista? Bro, what am I supposed to do? I was going to have Batista on here. Man, all right, well, I guess I'll have, Undertaker. Then he's like, Undertaker? I want an Undertaker. Then you take Undertaker and Kane. Boom, you got a tag team. They don't have a tag team. Then what do you do here? Oh, you got the World Heavyweight title? Well, they've got the tag titles. Like, they've got the tag titles and the WWE Championship. You got the World title. You got the U.S. title. They got the Intercontinental. Like, what do you do? And so it was so fun doing that with friends that you could just spend literally, I say hours, but you could spend weeks, because you would go through the whole year. So you could literally spend several days with your friends, like coming back, like, all right, let's pick up where we left off in GM mode. I'm thinking this. I'm thinking a ladder match between Kurt Angle and Shelton Benjamin for the Intercontinental title is going to be the main event tonight, because that's going to put asses in seats. And they're like, well, I'm thinking a female submission match is going to put asses in seats, so I'm going to make that my my penultimate match. And so it was just so fun doing that. 2006 and 2007 are great for those if you love the micromanaging part of it. And yeah, a lot of good memories with those games. A lot of good memories with all those games. But that's my top 10 for this week. And that concludes another episode of ATW. Thank you all for coming out and watching. And if you want to stay up to date on all things wrestling, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. And after the 1, 2, 3, you'll stay up to date on all things cut and loose. Until next time, I'm Hunter Meach. I'll see you all in the next one.
We cutting loose.